The dream of any mother is for her kids to be hugely, hugely successful. My family, I have told you that this podcast today, Archetypes, has been so inspirational. I mean, this amazing, remarkable, successful businesswomen, Mellody Hobson, Victoria Jackson, when they're talking, it's just so inspirational. Their stories are so inspirational. They inspire me. And I'm hoping that when you listened to the podcast, it inspired you just as it inspired me. And my family, in this podcast, we hear how Meghan would like her kids to turn out in the future after speaking to Mellody Hobson. And Mellody Hobson is a hugely, hugely successful American businesswoman who is president and co-CEO of Ariel Investments and chairwoman of Starbucks Corporation. Wow, wow, wow. Every time I say it, I just feel like jumping a bit, high because I'm just, this podcast has been so inspiring. It touches your heart. And I'm sure that those who already have had this latest episode of Archetypes will understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's full of emotions. When Victoria Jackson details her experiences in life, you'll understand that she has been through a lot of pain in her life. Once again, those who have tuned in to Spotify and listened will understand what I'm talking about. Once again, I'm urging you to tune in to Archetypes on Spotify and listen to the latest episode of Archetypes, To Be or Not to Be, with Mellody Hobson and Victoria Jackson. Once again, we continue our Archetypes review today. My family, it's clear that Meghan wants a great life for Archie, a great life for baby girl Lilibet Diana. My family, she has said so herself, and I want you to hear what Meghan said. Before that, I want you to hear about Mellody Hobson, about her life, how she was, and what Meghan said about how she would love, Archie to become, how Mellody Hobson's, upbringing inspires Meghan to want to perhaps change her parenting skills. And this is what led Meghan to talk about changing her parenting skills. Why? Because she wants Archie, Lilibet Diana, to be as hugely successful as Mellody Hobson, her mentor. Mellody Hobson is Meghan's mentor. Now, my family, this is the conversation. But once again, kindly tune into Archetypes to listen in to what has been said. Quite inspiring podcast. A quite inspiring podcast. And also, each person has a past. And here, Mellody Hobson's past and what she said about, her past.
So let's just be reminded of everything I told you Mellody has since accomplished. It's astounding and so inspirational, and all from these humble beginnings where Mellody was, in her own words, desperate to understand money because they didn't have any. She wanted to understand the power of that currency.
My family, Mellody Hobson was desperate to understand money, how it worked, because she didn't have any. And now look at her. Because of her drive, because of her resilience, look at where she is. Look at where Mellody Hobson is. She is an American businesswoman who is president and co-CEO of Ariel Investments and the chairwoman of the Starbucks Corporation. Wow, wow, wow. And she got there by being ambitious. You know, they didn't have money growing up. But because she wanted a better future, a different future, she worked hard for it. She wanted it so much. She was ambitious. And she got what she wanted. The point that even Meghan wants to change her parenting skills to hoping that, her children will also be as hugely successful as Mellody Hobson. That's a mother's dream. Every mother, every good mother, every good father only ever wants to see her children or his kids successful. And that's what both Meghan and Harry want. My family, let us continue. This is quite inspirational podcast. Let's continue.
So she quickly learned how to be self-sufficient and care for herself, a trait underscored by her mother's slightly, let's call it unconventional parenting style.
I joke with people, this is true. I found my own orthodontist. I went to the appointment by myself.
What?
I had these horrible teeth.
How old were you? What are you talking about?
I was in 6th grade.
No.
Yeah.
You found your own orthodontist and went to the appointment by yourself?
I asked all of my friends who their orthodontist was, and I called and made an appointment because I had a fang. One of those teeth that sticks up top. It was so awful. Even I knew I couldn't go through life like that. And so I went to the orthodontist alone. And I'm like, how old are you in 6th grade? 12, 13?
12.
I don't even know.
12, yeah.
So the orthodontist sees me and he's like, you need braces. He's explaining all of this to me. Dr. Thompson was his name. And after he told me everything, he told me it was $2,500. He's telling this to a 12-year-old, which shows how special he was, I have to say.
Yeah.
And so he says, it's $2,500. And I said, well, we don't have that kind of money. And he gave me a payment plan.
Oh my gosh.
He gave me a little booklet, and then I went home and told my mom and explained the whole thing to her. And I went back and got braces.
Wow.
But my mom wasn't surprised. It was like,
wow.
Of course she did. But it wasn't because, again, I was like thrown to the wind. It was just like, if I wanted to do things, I had to figure it out every time. Just like something as simple.
If I wanted to do things, I had to figure it out. Mellody's mom was not surprised. It was like, wow, of course she did. But it wasn't because, again, I was thrown to the wind. That's what Mellody said. That is what Mellody said. And my family, if you want to get or accomplish something, you have to go for it. Never give up. Keep working towards what you want to get, what you want to achieve. My family, we are approaching the part whereby Meghan wants to change her parenting skills. Kindly listen to this.
Was going to a birthday party. If I wanted to go to a birthday party, my mom would say, how are you going to get there? How are you going to get home? What are you going to do about a present? And I knew I had to come prepared with all of those answers or I couldn't go.
I have to rethink my parenting style. Because if that's what yields you, then I've really got to up my game with our kids being self-sufficient.
My family, it's clear what Meghan wishes. For our children to be, self-sufficient, be able to go out there and get what they want. To achieve or get something through their own hard work. To know the value of hard work. And I believe that is what both Harry and Meghan will be teaching baby Archie and baby girl Lilibet Diana. We already know that they're teaching them that manners make the man. Your character will take you places. That's what Harry said at the Invictus Games at the Netherlands. of what they teach baby Archie. Meghan also said that in the Cut magazine article. Without a shadow of a doubt, I have faith baby Archie will continue growing up to be a great, great person with a very, very good heart. The same good heart that both his parents have. My family, you've heard from Meghan herself. I mean, even for Mellody, what she has said about how her mom used to parent her. If she wanted to go to a birthday party, her mom would ask her a question. How will you get there? How are you going to get home? What are you going to do about a present that you're going to give your friend whose party you're going to? And, after those questions, Mellody Hobson knew that if she wanted to go out to a birthday party, she knew that she had to come up prepared with all of those answers, or she couldn't go. To which Meghan replied that I have to rethink my parenting style, because if that's what yields you, I've really gotta up my game with our kids being self-sufficient. Not being given, anything that they want. Harry and Meghan are very, very rich. They are rich, people. They are very, very rich. They're wealthy. And my family, you can easily be carried away and make sure that your children just have everything that they need. And that's cool. That's what a parent should do. If you have the means, then give your child, everything that you yourself you never had. For instance, my late father used to tell me that, they didn't have much. Even in school, he used to go without shoes to school because he didn't have much. However, he worked hard to get, first of all, to get a job. And he got a job. He helped his family out. He helped his mother out, his late mother now. My grandmother also passed away. So my family, you've heard, first of all, what Meghan has said about being self-sufficient. And I'm using the example of my late father. He didn't have much growing up, as I've said, but he worked extremely hard, with the point that his last act of, love, first of all, towards his late mom, was that he built his late mother a house, a beautiful house he built for his late mother before he passed away. He passed away before, my grandma, now my father's late mom. And because of the pain of losing my dad, she also suffered a heart attack and passed away because of the pain of losing my dad a couple of months later. And my dad's last act of love towards her was building a really, really nice house for her. My father learned to be self-sufficient. He didn't have much growing up, but he worked to get what he had. And he achieved a lot. He achieved so much. And I'm very, very proud of my late dad. I'm very, very proud and thankful. He was a loving father to me, my sister, my brother, a loving husband to my mom. And I'm thankful for that. And may God always take care of him in heaven. So my family, when Meghan speaks about kids being self-sufficient, children, even if you are a rich person, your kids need to learn how to be able to fend for themselves. The value of hard work. The value of hard work. And that's something that my late father, instilled in me. The value of hard work. Even the Bible says that if you don't work, then you shouldn't be able to eat. That's just what the Bible says. And my family, we all have a lot to learn from someone called Mellody Hobson, this remarkable entrepreneur called Mellody Hobson. Just looking at her profile already, and I'm so hugely inspired. An American businesswoman, president and co-CEO of Ariel Investments, and the chairwoman of Starbucks Corporation. She's the former chairwoman of DreamWorks Animation. Wow. The value of hard work that her mom taught Mellody, that her mother taught her. A single mom taught her that if she wants anything, she needs to go for it herself. And no wonder, even at the end of the podcast, she was asked by Meghan a question. Like, how do you describe yourself? She says ambitious. She's resilient. That's what she said in the podcast. For those who have tuned in to Arch Tapes and listened, you will know what I'm talking about. Once again, kindly go ahead, tune in to Arch Tapes yourself and just listen. It's quite interesting and so inspiring. I think, my family, these episodes just keep getting better and better and better and better and better. And I'm just loving each and every single episode of Arch Tapes. Once again, thank you, Meghan, for fighting these labels that hold women back, that hold people back. My family, so what do you think about this parenting style? Teaching your kids to be self-sufficient. I believe that, from my personal experience, my dad says you should work. My late dad told me that you should work. That's what he said. You should work. If you want to get anything, you should work. And to this day, I'm happy that I do work. And I help my mom out with the bills, as I've said before. And by God's grace, next year, I'll give her enough money to build a nice, decent home. That's my goal. I pay the rent here. I pay the house bills here. And it makes me happy. I'm happy that I'm helping out my mom. And my family. So what do you think about this? I just want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your opinion about all of this, what Meghan had said about having to rethink her parenting style. Because if that is what yields, Mellody Hobson, then Meghan has said herself that she has really got to up her game with their kids, Archie and Lilibet, for them to be self-sufficient. And I think that is the right way to raise a child. Teach them the value of hard work. Teach them the value and importance of working. That they may be able to earn their own money, their own living. I believe that in this day and age that we live in, teach them how to make money, how to earn a living. If you have the means, if you have the way, of earning a living or making money, teach your children how to do it, how you make money. Teach them. If you're in the stock market business, teach your kids that. If you're in the content creation business, teach your kids that. Teach your family that. And create generational wealth. That's how I believe, how things should go. Once again, I want you to rehear, what Mellody Hobson said. let's just recap what she said before I end this podcast, this video. Kindly.
And after he told me everything, he told me it was $2,500. He's telling this to a 12-year-old, which shows how special he was, I have to say.
Yeah.
And so he says, it's $2,500. And I said, well, we don't have that kind of money. And he gave me a payment plan.
Oh my gosh.
He gave me a little booklet, and then I went home and told my mom and explained the whole thing to her. And I went back and got braces.
Wow.
But my mom wasn't surprised. It was like,
wow.
Of course she did. But it wasn't because, again, I was like thrown to the wind. It was just like, if I wanted to do things, I had to figure it out every time. Just like something as simple as going to a birthday party. If I wanted to go to a birthday party, my mom would say, how are you going to get there? How are you going to get home? What are you going to do about a present? And I knew I had to come prepared with all of those answers or I couldn't go.
I have to rethink my parenting style. Because if that's what yields you, then I've really got to up my game with our kids being self-sufficient. What's so great about the orthodontist story specifically is that if you look at that training that you're getting by default at 12, 11 years old, however old you are, to know that you're asking for what you need and figuring out a way to get it. And it's working. But as you get older, when you're not this 11 or 12-year-old, and you're growing into a woman, that same understanding of knowing what you want, asking for what you need, that can sometimes be thrown back in your face, like as though you're being difficult or something, pushy. So for you, you grow up, you graduate from Princeton, you get into the business world. Did you feel like you needed to change your behavior or your way of doing things?
I was taught really early on in business that people act in their own self-interest. And so in advocating for what you want or need, you have to help them to see why it's in their best interest too. Mm-hmm. And so I think that helped me take the edge off of some of that advocacy. And I think where women get a bad rap, which is undeserved. So please know that I am not in any way being critical. If we do exactly the same way that a man does it, we're met with just a much different sense of perception versus reality. I tell people this all the time. I meet people and they say to me very frequently, you're so much nicer than I thought you would be.
Okay, where do you think that comes from and how do you respond to that?
I think it comes from this idea that I'm going to be this angry, militant Black woman. But I find it so fascinating that people speak the words, you're so much nicer than I thought you would be. But just the idea that that is a part of the early conversation says a lot about people's perception of ambition, mm-hmm. which I proudly am ambitious, mm-hmm. and successful women.
Mm-hmm.
My family, I believe that is enough. That's the clip that I wanted you to hear, and you have heard it yourself. No wonder I see this podcast, this Spotify podcast archetype, this episode, to be or not to be, with Mellody Hobson and Victoria Jackson, is quite inspiring. Quite so inspiring, my family. Once again, tune in to listen in on this episode of Archetypes. It's quite inspiring, and it has inspired me so much, and I'm hoping that it has inspired you as well. Teach your kids to be self-sufficient. It's quite important, and that way they can be able to learn the value of hard work. I think that's quite important, and my family, and also this perception about people that you haven't even met. I think it's wrong to have this perception of someone that, as Mellody herself, has said about what people thought about her. You're different from, how I thought that you would be. Like what, Mellody Hobson has faced, in the industry that she works in. I think it's wrong to judge people before you even meet that person. I think it's just so wrong to judge someone, to just jump into conclusions from, about someone. I think it's It's just so wrong. And Meghan herself has experienced it, People who have been fed lies by the UK press against Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. A woman in her entire life has never been accused of bullying. Never. A woman who was a self-made millionaire before she even got married. That woman, her name is Meghan. Long before she even got married. But you know what they called her. The insulting, demeaning names that they called Meghan. Yet they know that she was already a millionaire before she got married. Nobody gave her or left her an inheritance. No. Meghan worked hard for what she has. Throughout her life, she has known the value of hard work. Since a young age of 11 years old, she got a multi-billion-dollar company, Procter & Gamble, to change its sexist ad through using her voice. And that's what she has always used throughout her life and continues to use all of her life. My family, it's important. It's important to treat people with dignity, with the utmost level of respect, and not judging someone, It's not cool to judge someone. Even Meghan herself, she said to herself in an interview in that podcast with Paris Hilton, whereby she apologized to Paris Hilton because she had judged her before even meeting her based on what she saw, based on how she was covered by the media. And the same thing happened to Meghan. The same thing happened to her. And that's why, my family, it is not okay to judge someone based on what you see in the papers. It's not cool. It's not cool. And that's why I love the people in this channel, the Sussex squad that I've seen even online, have used their own basic common sense. I've been able to, whenever they see a story, even a lie from the UK press, are able to do their own research. That's what I love, first of all, about the squad. They do their own research about members of the royal family. Like, for instance, those stories about, how the media covered Kate and how they covered Meghan. Like when Meghan grabbed her baby bump, she was insulted. Like, why can't she stop grabbing her baby bump? When Kate Middleton did it, it was, nurturing. She's being a good, protective mother. And when Meghan ate an avocado, it was said that it was causing, droughts or floods. When Kate Middleton did it, it was good for the baby. Things like that. And members of the squad were able to bring those receipts, do their own, investigations, do their own research, and see for themselves, this is not cool. And see exactly why Meghan is being targeted. And she was being targeted because of her race. My family, once again, I thank the squad for, doing your own research, your own investigation. Even when you see a lie, you research it yourself and get to the bottom of the truth. My family, I'm thankful that this community has done just that. No wonder none of us have ever believed the lies that are being fed by the UK press to target, Meghan, to malign, harass, bully Prince Harry and Meghan. I'm thankful for that. I am very, very, thankful for that. Because even when Mellody Hobson said this, that I tell people all the time, I meet people and they say to me very frequently, you're so much nicer than I thought you would be. Okay, Meghan asked, where do you think that comes from and how do you respond to that? And Mellody said that I think it comes from this idea that I'm going to be this angry, militant black woman. But I find so fascinating that people speak the words. I'm quoting, Mellody Hobson on the Spotify podcast, archetypes. My family, that says so much about people's own perceptions about Mellody Hobson, about Meghan. And it's not good to be someone who judges someone without even knowing that person, like how Meghan has been judged, like how Mellody Hobson has been judged. It's not okay. It's not cool. Once again, women deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Let us teach our friends, our family, to do just that. That's one step forward in the fight against misogyny, the ill treatment of women. Women in a society deserve to be treated with dignity and the utmost level of respect. My family, what do you think about this podcast? I want to hear your opinion about this. What do you think about Meghan having to change her parenting skills? Why? Because like any mother, she wants her children to be hugely successful, just as successful as Mellody Hobson. I want to hear your opinion about that. And she also wants her children, Archie and Lilibet, to be self-sufficient. I like that. I like that. And no wonder Mellody Hobson is her mentor. No wonder. My family, what do you think about all of this? I want to hear your opinion. And kindly stay tuned to our next video. Love you always and forever. And God bless each and every single one of you. I loved and enjoyed this podcast. And I'm loving that we are getting to see Meghan, not from the lens of the UK press, but from Meghan herself. From Meghan herself. I love that 100%. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm sure that you do too. May God bless Harry, Meghan, Archie, Lilibet, and Doria Ragland, and all of you members of the squad at home and your families. And kindly stay tuned to our next video. This podcast was so inspiring, and I love this so much. Kindly tune in to listen yourself. Kindly tune in to listen yourself. And kindly stay tuned to our next video. Love you always and forever. Hello, members of Zesco Family TV. First of all, I want to say thank you for all your support that you give us to our channel. We don't take it for granted that you support this channel. I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for lending out your support and fighting against injustices, supporting Prince Harry and Meghan, showing them love. Love will always triumph over evil, and for that I say thank you. Good will always prevail over bad. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for joining this community, this amazing community of Zesco Family TV. I love you so much, family, from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you all the best. May you have a great day, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and learned a lot of things. With that and so much more, stay tuned to our next video. Leave a comment below, like, and subscribe. Love you, family, always and forever. Sayonara.